my chalice lighter. Good morning, everybody. It is so nice to see you here this morning on this beautiful spring day. Our chalice lighting is from Tracy Johnson. We kindle our flame this morning, a beacon of freedom held out to light the way, light of reason illuminating the path, spark of courage igniting our spirits, a glow with hope for all that we endeavor to do together. Holy flame of times past, present, this present moment, that we may be with love, and that love is our center, our foundation, both. And blessed be.
I feel like we all needed that this morning. Thank you. We're so very blessed to be together once again in community, taking in all the strains and the stressors of this world, endeavoring always to create for one another a space of peace, a home for love in our own hearts. We are so very lucky this morning to have an incredibly music-rich Sunday. Today, we are joined by Catherine Patterson and Lily Lane. Catherine, some of you may know as Arthur and Maria's daughter. Catherine, who grew up in this congregation, who grew up singing with Cliff. Catherine, who belted Katy Perry's Firework from this very chancel when she was in high school, and has come a long way, baby, making art of her own as a folk musician in Dallas, who writes music, she says, to keep you company. I know that her voice and Lily's will indeed keep us company today, and we are so grateful for it. You are indeed welcome here if it is your first time or your 400th time to this space, which makes room for you to learn, to grow, to explore your own faith life and the spirituality that could ground you in an anxious time. This morning, our welcome to our new monthly theme is shared by Dan Glore, who's a member of our board here at River Road. Each month, we have a spiritual theme that's the focus of our worship and our religious education, our time together. This month is transformation, the courage it takes to actually change, sometimes the very real fear involved in that changing. Because the work of being on your board is not just numbers and spreadsheets and management, it is also a modeling of a way of living a spiritual life. It is my great honor to ask Dan to come forward and introduce our spiritual theme of transformation for the month.
So, according to Google, transformation means a thorough or dramatic change in form or appearance. Some examples of transformation listed by Google are from nature. For example, when two gases, oxygen and hydrogen, combine and are transformed into a liquid, water, or when a caterpillar transforms into a butterfly. But transformation, as it relates to Unitarian Universalists, is a more abstract concept, relating to our openness to change, our ability to adapt to a changing world, and our ability to grow spiritually and ethically. You may have heard the saying that change is the only constant in life. I found that this was attributed to the Greek philosopher Heraclitus from about 500 BC. But humans tend to resist change. About 2,500 years after Heraclitus, the American psychologist Dan Gilbert said, "Human beings are works in progress that mistakenly think they're finished." As a first-year board member, I feel like I'm undergoing a transformation as I learn how the board works and learn all that it takes to keep this amazing place running smoothly. And by the way, the board is planning to transform our annual meeting, making it much shorter than it has been in the past. You'll hear more about that in the coming weeks and months. I'd like to conclude with a quote from the American Buddhist philosopher Pema Chodron, who stated, "Let difficulty transform you, and it will. In my experience, we just need help learning how not to run away."
Thank you, Dan. One of the ways we find the courage to stay in it and not run away even when the change is hard is by surrounding ourselves with beauty, particularly in this place, the beauty and abundance of song. Our hymn is "Come Sing a Song with Me." I invite you to rise in body or in spirit. The lyrics will be right back here so we can sing together.
Waiting is hard, sometimes, a lot of the time. We wait for holidays to come, we wait for vacations, we wait in line, we wait our turn. Lots of times we are waiting. The Christian faith has a couple of well-known waiting times: Advent, that are the 4 weeks leading up to Christmas, and Lent, which are 40 days before Easter, which is the time we're in right now. Started back middle of February. Today I'm going to talk about Lent and how some Unitarian Universalists have modified it to be relevant to us today. For Christians, Lent is a time to deepen or start a spiritual practice, sometimes giving up something that you enjoy, which is, you may have heard of that one, and sometimes adding something that helps you connect to the holy. The word Lent comes from a word meaning lengthening, like the lengthening of the days that we're experiencing right now. So, Unitarian Universalists, Reverend Mr. Barb Grieve and Alex Capitan, came up with something that we Unitarian Universalists could do during this time of lengthening daylight before Easter that would help us think more deeply about what's important in our lives and connect to each other and connect to the holy. This year is the 10th year of this practice they call UU Lent Photo a Day. They came up with this handy-dandy chart, and each day there's a word prompt that you will take a picture of. It doesn't have to be literal. It can be any interpretation of that word that you want. And then often people will share them on social media or with friends or with their families. So the idea is to think of what is important, the most important thing about that word. Here are some examples from this year. Wish. I made this cake for my husband's birthday. I make a variation of this cake every year. It's important for me to do things for people I care about to help make their wishes come true. Love. Building a handicap ramp in rural West Virginia in the mountains is an act of love. It's a lot of work, but it is definitely an act of love. Interdependence. That's the word for today, actually. This image of bags filled for the to be well fed reminds me of all the people that it takes to make a difference. Everything that went into the food that's in those bags and packing them and getting them to people, all of that, and all the people that it's going to help and how that will influence their life. We are all very interdependent. Oh, okay. If you'd like to join, it's not too late. There's a QR code you can snap a picture of. I hope that the inset, oh, thank you. I was worried the inset might mess it up. But you guys don't have the inset. I just saw that online. Okay. I'll put a link to it. If you don't capture it today, I'll put a link to it in the e-weekly and in the family news. So parents, you can access it for your family and do it with your family. You can do it with your friends. You can just do it for yourself. And I would love to see what things you come up with. At this time, I would like to dismiss all the children, youth, and their teachers to their classes.
I'd like to share some joys and concerns with you. A celebration of the life of Rob Coe took place here at River Road yesterday afternoon, where we were surrounded by friends and family, all those impacted by his gentle, peaceful way in the world. Please save the date to join us for a celebration of the life of Kirk Hornbeck. It'll be held on Saturday, March 23rd at 3 p.m. at the rooftop at the Hyatt Regency in Bethesda. Marjorie Newman passed peacefully overnight on Tuesday, February 20th. While her family is making preparations for her memorial service, they ask if anyone wishes to make contributions in her memory, they should make those contributions through the River Road College Access Fund, a project she tirelessly led here at River Road for so many years. Finally today, our prayer today cannot be anything other than a prayer for peace. No matter where you might find yourself ideologically or religiously, every metric shows that even as the hostages suffer and continue to suffer, the Gaza Strip is now the single most dangerous place in the world to be a child. As American planes prepare to drop American-grown food to areas utterly devastated by American-manufactured munitions, we know that we are not an ocean or a continent away, but we are deeply involved. We are always connected to the profound trauma and hurting of this time.
Instead of a prayer today, I bring you a poem that is something of an artifact of my own spiritual life. I spent 2 days in silent retreat last spring with this poem as my sole companion and text. It's called Unsolvable Things, and I wonder if I am not the only one that bears witness to unsolvable things in my life and in the world. This, the work of Alla Renee Bozarth. If you feel your life needs solving, try 3 methods. Absolve all that is unresolved in the past, yourself and others. Dissolve all that is absolved and its residue, and resolve anything that remains conflicted or incomplete by what means occur to you in dreams, or while in the shower, or while walking in the rain. If these do not work, then live with the mystery as originally planned. There will surely be, as surely as tomorrow, a way through and around everything. Pray for protection then from your own hesitation so that you do not miss that moment of grace when it comes to you, and pray also to be delivered from your own aggression so that you do not kill this fragile, vincible grace when it floats over you like a pearl on sea foam. Then, simply keep moving. Stay alive by moving along the rhythms of rest and discovery, and be brave in any event. Every choice you make holds its own secret for redemption.
There's a clearing in the forest where the women used to pray, and they filled the air with wishes for the coming days. and some of it came true. And some of it did not. And many of them wondered had they prayed loud enough, or maybe their gods just forgot. I never said a prayer, I just dealt with what I got. But there is something that I envy in those that do believe in God. There are all these moments where the path's not clear. If only there were someone to point me towards the right one and guide me through the fear. I keep thinking of those women as I stand here in the glade, waiting for the words to find me, to fill the air in my own way. All I hear is music, this pulsing duple drum. I close my eyes and listen for a melody, and wordless I start to hum.
Music to keep you company indeed. When we gather in this place, we are reminded in so many ways of what the point is of gathering in the first place. We gather for the depth of meaning carried in a song. We gather for the reassurance of the rhythm of Sunday mornings, of the way that Sundays just don't stop, and we'll be there again on the other side of any heartbreak or joy we may encounter in the coming week. We gather because this community matters to us. And we find ourselves, of course, as we always do, in the rhythm of every year, back once again in a cycle of giving that is an honor and a joy, because we are giving not until it hurts, but because it feels good to give to a place that brings such gifts to us. Here in the midst of our stewardship season, We'll be sharing a variety of videos from River Roaders talking about why it is not just that they give, but why they show up, why this place matters to them. Today, particularly, our video focuses on our religious education programs, the gift that it is to be one another's people at every developmental and life stage. It's my joy to let you know that we are halfway to our stewardship goal already, having just launched this thing last week. Thank you. And that at some point this morning, either now or during announcements, we'll put a QR code right up there. Well, we're so full of QR codes these days. I never would have thought it, but there you go. This is a QR code for you to make your pledge right now to support the life of the congregation. And again, what pledging is not something anybody's going to lean over your shoulder and make you feel guilty about. It's just a promise so that we can figure out how to plan well together in community. At this time of offering, I want to share that video before once again we're blessed with the gift of music, this time from the choir. When the choir sings, you know the drill. There is a box in the back. Baskets are passed. You can make your pledge online, or you can make any kind of gift this very morning. What a blessing it is to be each other's people.
It never occurred to me that I would be a member of a congregation. And so I'm always like, I'll say like, you might want to come and check out my congregation. And I'm like, but it's not really what you think. I was like, it's like a lot of like really cool people and they get together and they talk about great things. And
I feel like I'm a person who belongs here. And so that's the type of impression that I like to give other people when they are talking about River Road, thinking about coming or visiting. I want to give the impression that they belong here too.
my kids grew up here. They were both in the choir with Cliff, and the RE program was really important for them and for me. I was part of the RE committee.
Last year during the middle school Sunday service group, we would go to other churches or places of worship for different religions, and then we learned about them there, like a mini field trip pretty much. It's important so we can accept everybody, and not saying that one is better than the other, but just say they're all different.
And the youth group was especially important for my daughter. It became like the main sort of social scene for her teenage years, and so being a UU was like important to both of them.
Yes, working with the youth has been great for me. It has really been the touchstone during the pandemic and afterwards to what I have continued to do even when I didn't really feel like being a part of anything. I felt like being part of this community because of being part of the youth group.
It really does matter if you show up, and it's not as good if you don't. We laugh and we cry and we sing, and but everybody's welcome.
Was your favorite part the cookie part? So what?
Have you ever found yourself right in the middle of a perfectly lovely meal on your own or with friends and family you love so much? Maybe a time when the coffee in this diner is actually pretty good, or the matzo ball soup at that deli is exactly how you like it. And have you ever found yourself, in spite of all that, the coffee, the general pleasantness, the conversation, have you ever found yourself, in spite of all those blessings, wondering somewhere in the back of your head when that dinner will be over already, because surely you have someplace else to be? Indeed, on a larger but still personal scale, have you ever lived whole segments of your life like it's your senior year in high school, and not in a cool fun times party sense, but in the sense that whatever it is that is happening now is only a prelude, an opening act for the real life that will somehow begin later? When this thing or that thing, whatever it might be, happens, when the baby is born, when your treatment is finally over, or after the election in November, when at least we'll know what we're dealing with, have you ever thought maybe life would really get started again after that or after this? And we can figure out how to really start on the other side of something. Or maybe, just maybe, have you ever told yourself that life can begin or restart when whatever pain or guilt or anger or hurt that currently haunts you, for all the true and devastating reasons it might haunt you, is finally and fully resolved forever? And when that is done, life can start again later, when that is done for real and for once and for all. And yet, however much I live all of those realities in my life and my service with you, and yet I also have the great honor of sitting vigil with so many of you and your friends and loved ones. And every time I sit vigil, an active time of waiting and of attention with people in this congregation nearing the end of their lives, whenever I invite you to speak about what it all means, about what carries them forward through it all, about the reminiscences of a lifetime that give meaning to that lifetime, what I receive in response to such questions is a stream of memories composed entirely or almost entirely of the things most of us spend our living days trying so desperately to rush through. That one dinner in Chinatown in the late 70s when your husband first tried soup dumplings. That one show you whisked each other off to in the cheap seats you sat in all the way at the top. The way that Mom could never drive the Winnebago on vacation without being wild-eyed in terror. The train ride across the Rockies you saved up all your money for, but the baby would not sleep one single wink, and so no one found it restful. The orchestra concerts and the walks along the C&O Canal towpath, and that heron you saw that one time that looked so much like a dinosaur come to life right there in front of you on a Wednesday afternoon that you have never forgotten it 40 years later, when I am talking to you in times of vigil and you are reflecting to me what makes a life meaningful. What you reflect back is a sequence of all those moments that so often we think are leading us inexorably towards some place else. If I had a mind to, in these moments of vigil, which I do not, I would have to dig really hard and prod a whole lot, often quite intrusively, to get you in those moments near the end of time, those vigil moments, to reflect back the supposedly big things that we all think we're waiting for. You know, the job promotions, the career moves, the big theological commitments, what happens when we die. These are not the things that river roaders reflect on in times of vigil. None of that. The big stuff, the banner items, the things we think we spend our lives waiting for are the things that come to mind. What is there in times of vigil keeping is the flow of life that never stops, and the flashes of the sacred you may never have tagged as holy until long afterward, when you slow down enough to bless them in retrospect. And every time I come away from those vigil-keeping moments, often from some random room with the blinking lights and the annoying sounds in suburban or Sibley Hospital, I come away from those moments blinking into the afternoon sun and thinking to myself some version of the exact same line. There is no other thing, I tell myself. This is, in fact, the thing. Don't look for something else, I remind myself. This, then this, blinking in the sunshine. This, then this day, this dinner, this moment, that heron. This, then is the thing. And for an hour or for a day after those moments of vigil keeping, I allow myself to live just a little bit differently. For an hour or a day after such vigil keeping, I look at my children differently. I let Monday evening taco night in the McDonald lad household linger a little longer. I remind myself over and over again, like a sacred mantra, that this, then is the thing. This thing we have such great difficulty attending to together is the substance of it all. Over dinner, on the towpath in this place on a Sunday morning, there is nothing we are waiting for but this. As Melissa Kirsch recently wrote in the New York Times, we rush because we're late. We also rush because we want to move too quickly from discomfort. We rush into obligations or decisions or relationships because we want things settled. Worrying itself, she says, is a kind of rushing. It's uncomfortable to sit in a state of uncertainty, so we fast forward the tape. Do you remember tapes? Anyone? And how we could fast forward them? This obsession with being done with things, of living life like an endless to-do list, she writes, is ridiculous. Keep going, keep rushing, even through the good parts. And yet there are those times of vigil, of active wakefulness at the edge of things, when the glimmer of the holy makes itself known in and through the fabric of the everyday, and we do not have to wait for the endings of things to encounter them until all the memories are in reverse. Religions and faith traditions from time out of time and across this world have known the power of vigil keeping as a core spiritual practice. Within Judaism, the practice of vigil keeping after death reaches its purest and most poignant form with the sitting of Shiva, where the people gather, where you gather, where indeed river roaders with Jewish identity have gathered together with me among yourselves over time and long into the night to remember, to honor, to feed each other so much food, and to grieve. A vigil is a time of wakefulness. And while vigil keeping is frankly not something that just naturally sort of happens in the busy human brain most of the time, there are practices that traditions around the world give us that can short-circuit the harried mind, focus the attention, and let us keep vigil while still there are decades and endless stories to come. Within the Greek Orthodox tradition, this is very nerdy, but I've been kind of obsessing over it lately. You know how people say that the Inuit have like 20 words for snow? I don't even know if that's true. I think it's true. But within the Greek Orthodox tradition, there are 3 different distinct words for the commanding practice of vigil keeping. of turning one's attention to where it matters most. 3 different words for it, all of which have commanded whole lifetimes of study and of practice, ream after ream of books, saints who gave their entire lives to any one of these 3 expressions of what it means simply to pay attention. Prosoche, the practice of attention, bears so many hallmarks of Buddhist mindfulness, we must, in time, understand the ways we are knit together. Nepsis, in the Greek tradition, the practice of vigilance, involves guarding the doors of your heart, letting in that which is worthy of your attention, and blocking entry to all that would diminish or demean. And Hesuhia, the overarching practice of stillness pioneered by Orthodox monks who were so quiet and so deeply engaged in their meditation, so profoundly at peace that their followers would sometimes come along and poke them gently with sticks just to make sure they were, in fact, still alive. These ways of cutting through the noise, of finding the stillness, they emerge from every faith tradition because they work. And right now, in this moment, we are just in or just upon the dual month-long cycles of vigil keeping known in Islam and Christianity as the holy month of Ramadan, and indeed, as Beth alluded to, as the Lenten season of lengthening our breath, our attention, and our focus. These are times when structures of attentiveness are built into the daily lives of believers that demand or impose a slowing of pace, a lengthening, so that we might sense ourselves attentive to what matters. Now, Ramadan, many of you know, is this season of fasting from sunup to sundown within Islamic communities, broken by the shared iftar meal when night closes in and the community gathers. And man, does the community gather to pray and then to eat and to eat and to eat alongside one another. From the outside, this act of fasting looks like some practice of deprivation, but from the inside, Ramadan has never been about renouncing things. It is rather about clearing a space in the soul to make room for something else that matters more than the hubbub. Every hunger pain is a reminder that we depend on the holy and we depend on each other for the sustenance that lets us live. It is a reminder that none of us can make it alone, that all of us need all of us to survive. Likewise, in the Lenten season, when Catholic children across the globe give up chocolate, and every country boy I ever went to high school with in southern Indiana tries real hard to give up Miller Lite, the Lenten season is not about the giving up of the thing. It is about making any kind of daily choice you possibly can that interrupts your routine so that one small bit of intentionality can take hold in the rush from one moment to the next. In this way, the practices of vigil keeping are not about what you don't do, but about your fundamental stance in this world. Can you, for 1 month, or for 1 moment, or for 1 long wakeful night, be attentive and aware instead of harried and distracted and afraid? It is a way to be awake to the sacred. Simone Weil famously said that waiting patiently in expectation is the whole foundation of the spiritual life. Perhaps by extension, showing up fully to the act of living inside those waiting, unresolved spaces is the great gift of the spiritual life. The fact that we don't have to wait until the end to name these passing moments right here before us as the whole deal of the holy. We don't have to hold out on the promise that the sacred will catch up to us later. As Ala Renee Bozarth said in our reading this morning, pray or practice or pause or reflect or slow down or lengthen. Do whatever you have to do by nearly any means necessary, expressed in faith or outside of it. Pray or do or pause in this place we call our own, so that you do not miss the moment of grace when it comes to you. And pray to be delivered from your own aggression, so that you do not kill this fragile, vincible grace when it floats over you like a pearl on sea foam. Pray so that you do not miss it, and pray so that you do not kill it. Let it be seen and known, this fragile, vincible, holy moment as it passes us by. Keep the vigil so that grace can find you here and now. This is the thing you have been waiting for. May it be so.
I'm trying to grow as big as you, but I got a late start. Now my heart is covered in stretch marks. It's just growing pains. I welcome the change. There has to be someone who looks after you, 'cause you spread your wings so wide that everyone else fits inside. But who's holding you? I would like to. I'll carry the weight for you, and you'll carry the weight for me. We'll keep trading places. Remember, this isn't a race. I'll wash out the tub and draw you a bath, 'cause I know your body hurts from always staying alert. So decompress, quit holding your breath, 'cause I'll carry the weight for you, and you'll carry the weight for me. We'll keep trading places. Remember, this isn't a race. Someday I will grow as big as you. In the meantime, I'll observe. Sometimes it's the best way to learn, but I'll be right here. Snap, and I'll appear, 'cause I'll carry the weight for you, and you'll carry the weight for me. We'll keep trading places. Remember, this isn't a race. We're just keeping pace. Can y'all do that with me? We're just keeping pace. Nice, let's do it again. We're just keeping pace. Let's do two more. We're just keeping pace. Nice. Last one. We're just keeping pace. We're just keeping pace. We're keeping pace, keeping pace. We're just keeping pace. Keeping pace. We're
Can we just, Catherine Patterson, Lily Lane, you know what you could do? You could go and you could look up Catherine Patterson music online, and you could buy Catherine's music, and you can give to support her work in this world and Lily's incredible voice. What a gift it is to come up through a musical people and to help share that musicality with the world. You know the drill. Everything we do together happens because we make it so in community. Today's service is made so by so many voices. I think Cliff almost pulled all the rest of his hair out while trying to manage 3 musical acts this morning. There's a little left. We had the whole River Road Choir today, thank you. We had our youth choir. And of course, Catherine and Lily, thank you again. Our whole sound and tech crew was working hard today. Tom and Hugh on the video, Danny and Ajay doing sound, and Karin, as always, my buddy, my pal, thank you. We make it work because we make it work together. There are so many ways to be a part of the life of this congregation, and you can find out about it most easily in the e-weekly. If you want to get the e-weekly, just drop us a line at office@riverroad.org. I don't know. You can find us, and we'll get you that information. There are a few things I want to share with you today. Firstly, that on Sunday, March 17th from 2 to 4, so you can come to River Road and then go to the Action in Montgomery, which is our broad-based community organizing network, is having a terribly important action for universal pre-K right here in the state of Maryland. You can find out more in the e-weekly. You can hear from parents about the need for universal pre-K and find some really creative solutions for how we can leverage our power for the entire community. It's also the last day today to nominate yourself as a delegate for this year's virtual Unitarian Universalist Association General Assembly. River Road gets to send 11 delegates, plus all of us clergy types each year. So please consider this important chance to guide our community and our collective tradition forward. You can email me or the Leadership and Nominations Committee to put your name on the list as a potential nominee today. Also, next week is Spirit Sunday. That's when we're going to worship with everybody all in the room together for the whole service, kids, families, everybody. And next week's Spirit Sunday will include a reimagining consumerism swap. Bring up to 3 books or toys to add to a great big pile right up here, and you will leave home with at least one new to you item for every item you bring in, because why not? So bring your stuff, get some stuff. Let's not buy more stuff. Save the date for the youth group's annual Murder Mystery Dinner Theater on April 6th at 6:30. The youth will present The Trouble with Treasure, which sounds very mysterious, and you can get your tickets now. Lastly, it is that time of year when we gear up for Shelter Week. March 17th through 22nd, we will be providing all of the food and support for a week of life at the Montgomery County Women's and Children's Shelter. You can see our site on the website under Shelter Week. You can also find out more about it in the e-weekly. We need folks to bring food and supplies as we gear up for that. Finally, in the midst of it all, as we prepare to take this light we have kindled out into the waiting world, may the truth that makes us free, the love that casts out fear, and the hope that never dies guide us and those we love and those we do not love forward together till the day spring breaks and all the shadows flee away. Amen.